than Eli Drinkwitz. Thought Eli did a pretty good job. I did. I mean, let's call a spade here, guys. I mean, you think the people who wear the blackest, goldest glasses out there can admit Drink's a little bit of a Captain Cliche at times. He's going to avoid the questions he wants to talk about with a cliche. It's interesting sometimes. I've met Eli Drinkwitz a few times. Again, I worked 7 years in college, or 10 years in college football, 7 years in the Southeastern Conference. Worked for Gus Malzahn twice. Remember, Mizzou fans know this. Eli Drinkwitz comes from the Malzahn tree. Worked with him at Auburn as a GA, actually, when Cam Newton was there. And worked with him in Arkansas before that. So I'd hear Eli Drinkwitz stories and Mike Norvell stories pretty regularly from Gus. There was 2 understudies, and he always raved very highly about Eli Drinkwitz. So I know he's a very good football coach. Tries to be a little too funny at times. Again, nothing bad with that. Just kind of comes off a little corny cliche at times. That's just one man's opinion. But just recapping him today, initially I thought that stood out. I thought it was cool. He stood on the table for Mike Leech to get into the Hall of Fame. Again, the SEC Media Days, as Greg Sankey announced yesterday, is going to Atlanta next year where the College Football Hall of Fame is. He said he would like to see Mike Leach. And I totally agree. The 60% winning percentage, or 70% winning percentage, I forget what it was. When I worked with Les Miles, he used to talk about it all the time too. But the winning percentage thing's dumb. I mean, Mike Leach and Hal Mummy, all those guys created an offense that changed the game. It's what we know today. And you add in the unique perspective. He won big in a lot of programs. Texas Tech, Washington State, and even Mississippi State. He won 9 games. He won everywhere he's been. Championships? No, but he won. Mike Leach should definitely be a Hall of Famer. Me, as a college football fan, appreciate Eli Drinkwitz doing that. So I thought that was awesome. Then, let's pull up some notes here. Make sure. I mentioned he was Captain Cliche. I mean, Toughness Tuesday, Workman Wednesday. I mean, I've heard of Fast Friday before. That makes sense. But, I mean, it feels like every day has a day around it. So, yeah, it's always funny hearing Eli Drinkwitz talk about that. I thought what was interesting, he didn't mean to say this, and I wish he'd have just been straight up honest, but he almost said Texas A&M was their first real test, but then corrected himself and said it was their first road test, which he's not wrong about that, because Missouri opens up. Because Missouri, the first 4, it's UMass, Vandy, 2004 football schedule. I mean, he's right. They're going to be undefeated. Yeah, it's Murray State, Buffalo, at Boston College, Vandy, and at A&M. I think a bye week right after A&M too. Yeah, the 28th they're off. I mean, Missouri's by far going to be – again, I've had segments on this before. If Missouri wins at Texas A&M, guys, they're probably going to be in the playoffs. Again, unless we got a bunch of teams that are 10-2 and that's held against them the week schedule. Now, that's where it could get interesting if that were to happen. But again, I did a segment on this. They win at A&M, they're undefeated. That means they got 7 games left at UMass, Auburn at home, at Alabama, Oklahoma at home, at South Carolina, at Mississippi State, and Arkansas. They'd have to lose 3 out of those last 7. Could maybe see them losing 2 at Alabama. Oklahoma, I think, should be a little better than people think. Auburn at home, maybe. At South Carolina, but I mean, you get at Mississippi State and Arkansas, and they're just on paper better than in a coaching staff better. Again, if they win at Texas, if they win at Kyle Field on October 5th, that's a game not a lot of people are talking about for whatever reason. I think it's gonna be one of the more impactful games in the league and how this shakes out. Missouri will probably be in the playoffs, guys. They'll finish in the top 4 of the league. I mean, I can't see them losing 4 out of their last 7 again, unless we have a bunch of teams at 10-2. Hear me out on that. But I did notice him say that. Like, he's aware. He's not. I mean, he says our first team we're focused on is Murray State. I mean, all these coaches are going to give these cliche answers from that perspective. I mean, Eli Drinkwitz is Captain Cliche, but to be fair to him from the schedule standpoint, they're all cliche. So that's why I don't even know why we bring or ask those questions about what do you think about your schedule being tough? I mean, you heard Shane Beamer. They're all tough. Lane Kiffin said he's focused on Mercer first. Again, they're all going to tell you that. It's coach speak. But again, you can tell what Eli Drinkwitz's mind is just like the rest of us. That's their first real test. They got 4 preseason games before that. Other things I noted, he still says the defense, a.k.a. death row, it's almost like it's just like their defense, but he's an offensive guy. I didn't really understand that. It's not like he implements his own defense and people run it. I mean, Eli Drinkwitz is an offensive guy. I don't really understand that statement. A little bit to me, Eli Drinkwitz sounds a little insecure. I mean, I'm calling a spade here in the comments. If you want to comment, I'll highlight your comment and we can discuss this. I'm open up for debate. I'm sure this will rub some Missouri people the wrong way. It seems like Eli Drinkwitz is a little insecure about Blake Baker leaving. It does. It seems like he's a little insecure about it from the way he answered people's questions. I mean, I think he's a little insecure about Blake Baker, Kevin Peoples, and safeties coach Jake Olson, who are all now in Baton Rouge with Brian Kelly and LSU. I mean, two people asked questions, I think, about Blake Baker, and he just totally avoided it. Not avoided it. I thought the Baton Rouge Advocate guy had a good question. Forget his name. I apologize. But he asked him, hey, tell me what you think you lost about what's Blake Baker's strength and weaknesses, essentially. And he just brought it back to Corey Batoon, the new DC, which, I mean, I get. Let's talk about your three new guys. But you already did, because you talked about them getting adjusted to what you wanted to do in the 6 months. It just almost seems like he doesn't think Blake Baker and them are a loss. But when you say that, it comes off as an insecurity, and you think they probably are. Just put two and two together. Again, guys, I've worked in these buildings. I kind of know how these guys think. Talked about Corey Batoon having to get adjusted to how he wants to do things. He's taking slight shots, throwing some strays at Blake Baker and the two other guys, Kevin Peoples and Jake Olson, who left. It screams a little insecurity on that side of the ball. And, hey, we're going to do what we've always done with the death row defense. Well, you're an offensive guy. Now, if you lost Kirby Moore, who I think is a phenomenal OC, phenomenal underrated hire by Eli Drinkwitz, doesn't get enough credit for it, because Eli Drinkwitz is a great offensive mind, and so is Kirby Moore. Just the ability to move Luther Burden around the way he did last year was awesome. And I'm giving him credit for that. Now, if you lost your OC, yeah, hey, this is what we do. It's my system. I get it. Just like when people get all upset at Alabama about losing Ryan Grubb to the Seattle Seahawks. That's Kalen DeBoer's system. You can't be an offensive guy and say you run a certain type of defense. It just doesn't make sense. You may get somebody who's a surface level fan or keep up with college football that you're not getting me. That screamed insecurity, and he wasn't as high on the defense as he may have thought. I'm just being honest. And then I thought from a positive standpoint, he brought up Ryan Russell, strength and conditioning coach at Missouri. Know him personally, does a phenomenal job. Worked with him a year at Auburn. Loved him. Kids loved him. They do. Connor Milkey, another guy, his assistant, one of his assistant strength and conditioning coaches. They do a phenomenal job. I thought Auburn's players, when I was there under Gus Malzahn in 2016 when Ryan Russell manned that, and that's the relationship with Eli Drinkwitz and Ryan Russell. Gus Malzahn. This all trickles down. Even Rhett Lashley and them, who's at SMU. That's the connections there. I 100% agree with him. Ryan Russell's probably got these guys is in good a shape from a muscle mass, speed, GPS standpoint as you can get him. He does a phenomenal job, but he also relates to the players well. So I'm trying to tell Missouri fans that their strength coach is one of the best in the country, and you're lucky to have him. So I thought he hit on that. But really, outside of that, I mean, there really wasn't anything else to go over. I'll be honest with you, I was a little – Missouri fans, again, may get pissed off about this. A little underwhelmed. I thought he was a little more insecure about – losing Blake Baker and the two other assistants to LSU than I thought he would. It was a little weird. Why wouldn't you just answer the question? Even if you don't believe it, given the political state, hey, yeah, we lost him here. I really organized guy, players related to, et cetera, whatever you wanted to say. And I heard from people in other channels that, yeah, he was pretty pissed off they left to go to LSU. He was. Because I think Drink's not an idiot. They're going to be good on offense. They're going to be good on offense. They have everybody back. Kirby Moore's a phenomenal OC. I think he thought if he had some continuity on that defense side of the ball, they really would go contend for the SEC, and they still may. But again, you add in, hey, they had to get Corey Batoon and them had to get used to the new DC coming over from South Alabama, had to get used to the way I wanted things done the first 6 months. I don't know. Those are just little things I took. But I don't know. I wasn't underwhelmed by what he said. It was just even our own Chris Phillips asked him a question about Marcus Carroll and the other running back from App State, Noel, and how they were going to have to – was that going to be more by one of them going to have to step up to replace Cody Schrader to be a one-man band, or is it going to be more of a committee approach? And he just talked about we're going to miss just the person of Cody Schrader. I don't know. Just these answers are just captain cliche. It's like, just answer the question, man. It's just weird responses. Cool. Houston Nutt came and talked to the team last fall. Can you imagine Houston Nutt and Eli Drinkwitz just in the same room? Can you imagine that? Just the cliches, the, hey, baby. I never forget the Houston Nutt. One of my favorite videos, sorry to go off topic, is him after they beat LSU. Him and Darren McFadden after they beat LSU in 2007. Happened to be the LSU team that won the national championship in the last regular season game. When he goes nuts, it's like, Lou Holtz, Mark May, this is your Heisman Trophy winner, baby. Starts, bring the wood. Missouri fans may not remember that. They weren't in the league then. But interesting. I mean, Houston Nutt's one of the more quotable guys, too. So that'd been funny. Great guys, connection all the way. But again, I thought drinking them were going to be fine. I think everything is similar to Ole Miss lineup for Missouri this year, the roster and the schedule. I think it is, but you can tell Eli Drinkwitz a little, I don't know. I have a little more questions with the defense now after that. Maybe I'm taking too much out of it, but I thought he was a little insecure in his answers about losing Blake Baker and with his questions about the adjustment with Corey Batum. So I'm not going to go any longer, guys. I appreciate you joining us again. I'm your host, Dave Shumate, coming at you live, reacting to the final presser of the day at day 2 of SEC Media Days in Dallas. We'll do a live reaction video of it all today. Myself, Cole Thompson, and Chris Phillips tonight. We'll do that in about an hour. But just reacting off that again, guys. I appreciate you joining us. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Follow us on all social media platforms. I encourage you to do that. Chris Phillips, our guy, has boots on the ground. He'll be giving us all the live updates again, guys. But I'm your host, Dave Shumate, coming at you live. I appreciate you joining us. You have a phenomenal evening.